Right, Max, do the intro. Max, do the intro.
We get worse every week. We get worse every single week.
Would make me hit the wall, and I've hit the wall early.
Oh,
what an embarrassing start.
That's
amateurs.
That's the worst start we've had yet. It's
probably.
Oh dear. Well,
here's fingers crossed. Worst start so far.
Worst start so far. We can definitely get worse. I think we need to. I love that you're using a glass so we can't see your tramp juice.
Damn right.
Oh,
Nathan's on what used to be cheap cider, but now he's on super expensive cheap cider. $5.79. It's got like a promo label on it.
Yeah, it's 3 litres though.
I still think it's outrageously expensive.
Of which I'm halfway through. Right, still waiting. God help us.
To do with prices that high. They won't be getting a McDonald's because mine cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm back on the Costco water again.
Right, very good. Matt, do you want to take it away?
Are we introducing?
Is that where we're starting?
Of course,
obviously.
Right. Well, this week we have a guest.
We can wait till the end if you want.
We've got Dr. Matthew Bond. We've got an actual doctor with us.
Yes.
Not like a GP doctor. He's not going to treat you for anything, so don't ask him any medical.
I'm useless on a plane. All
that pseudoscience that we spout week in, week out, we're about to get corrected.
No.
I don't know about that. Anyone that's done one will tell you our knowledge is just so niche, it's almost useless.
What was your degree? What was your PhD in, please, Matt?
It was in eco-evolutionary dynamics of fish populations. So,
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he's fallen asleep already. I mean, while all my course mates were out collecting data on coral reefs and stuff, I lived in a dungeon with like 40 tanks of guppies.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
So tell us more. So you used guppies as a model for
so they were a model organism, and we looked at some populations had different harvesting regimes, and some populations had artificially manipulated competition, that kind of thing. So it was looking at how you could have, if you fished medium-sized individuals, you could still get decent yields without causing the population to collapse, and also causing them to evolve to be smaller. So that was that was kind of like one of the main headlines from my thesis, which is quite fun really, because it does have application to some of the stuff that we talk about as well.
Oh, awesome. I love the sound of that. I love it. One of my kind of theories on guppies was one of my hypotheses was true in that they get more colourful, don't they? Basically, male guppies get more and more colourful if they're not predated. Do you know about that, Matt?
Yeah. So if you don't have this, I'm going to nerd out now. This is where if you don't have top-down harvesting pressure, then competition becomes the driving force for evolution. So then you have high levels of sexual selection because there's competition for mates, that kind of thing, and it drives color. And you can actually see it. So all the guppies that I had came from Trinidad, and they're all in different streams. They're all characterized by high predation or low predation environments. So all the ones that originated from the low predation environments, you could tell that their markings were like a lot more bold and that kind of thing. And that wasn't necessarily what I was looking at, but it was just an interesting thing to kind of observe. I mean, other people have done that before I had anyway.
And that happens in home aquaria as well. If you get wild guppies, over generations, they just become much more ornate. Anyway.
Some of the wild types do look absolutely stunning as well.
Yeah.
Like naturally have like a really cool, like kind of like tiger stripe and like a little kind of like leopardy spot thing going on. Like like really stunning. So yeah, almost give like the original endlers a run for their money. I would say almost, not quite.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Can you I'm just sorry, I'm nerding out a little bit here now. Can you still get like original wild type endlers anywhere? Because I remember when they
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Go on then, Nate.
Yes, you can. I went to see a guy called Scott Hall down in Cambridge, and he deals with, I can't remember the chap's name. There is either a French or a Belgian chap who goes across to the two lakes, Cumana and Campona, and still harvests the wild types by region and brings them in for small scale distribution. Scott Hall had, I can't remember, I think he had 87 tanks and something like 55 different varieties of Endler, all geographically spaced.
Wow.
It was an amazing setup. So he had I can't remember which way around it is, the Camponas were the more pastely coloured and bright, and the Cumana, if I've got this right around, he was showing me the water bodies from Cumana. They literally look like milk. The water is just that clouded and that, it's literally like milk. It's pure white. And those ones are the ones that develop the metallic sheen because they have to reflect more. Yeah, so clear water's pastel, metallic sheen in the cloudy water. So they are out there. And there's one supplier that Scott deals with, and we mentioned before, it's Sweet Knoll. He actually gets rid of some of his stock to Sweet Knoll. So if you want proper regional Cumana or Campona wild type endlers,
Nathan,
although
a Sweet Knoll paying you.
Yeah, what's
a
going
little,
on there?
a little bit. He's got a lot of dirt on me. Yeah, no, he's got pictures of me. Swarfiga, bucket of fish.
Ethan, right. Evening to all our viewers, by the way. The usual gang are in, plus a few more, which is awesome. They just prop up the show because we know next to nothing. Ethan Wright knows a lot. The Trinidad Endlers, local to where I was staying, are one I wish I'd photographed. Properly photographed everything else I collected, but forgot the Endlers. Are the Endlers, my question is, Nate, are the Endlers kind of messed about with, though? Or are they like feral? Do you know what I mean?
So what Scott was saying, they found, so I wish I could remember the other chap's name who actually goes over and does the collecting. It is like a French or Belgian name. He went over something like 25, 30 years ago, and he found a population that were literally like in a ditch. It's like an irrigation ditch that they now pump sewage into. And then he returned when I went down to see him, which was like three or 4 years ago, and the same population was still there in this trench. So they are isolated populations. They're not, and Scott's really hot with the not interbreeding any of them. He's keeping all of the lines pure.
Okay.
So yeah, and he was imparting some interesting information on them. Apparently, the female imparts very little of her own genetic material into the offspring. So if you get a regional variant, you can breed it with any female from any other regional variant. If you breed the males with that female, you'll get copies of that male, and she'll impart next to nothing.
What's that bird that's like that? Is it rough?
Wow.
I think it's rough. The males, there's like 3 forms of the male, and they
look what I'm going to be talking about in news. Does anyone know what that fish is, please?
Well,
any guesses?
It's a Pokelia something.
Correct. Which one? Which one, Dr. Bond?
I know what it is because it says.
I could take a punt. It's a variety of Sphenops. Why not?
Not quite. It's Formosa, which is the kind of infamous Amazon molly. This is the one that. So this has just come up on National Geographic this week. So according to National Geographic, this is the one that doesn't need males. And it's the Amazon molly. It's a unique freshwater fish species that consists entirely of females and reproduces through gynogenesis, a form of asexual reproduction where sperm triggers development but does not contribute DNA. It's a hybrid of the sailfin molly and Atlantic molly. So that ties in our whole hybrid conversation.
Okay.
It goes on to say this fish has cloned itself for 100,000 years. Scientists have just figured out how. Amazon mollies don't need a male and never will. A new study finds they can purge and repair genetic mutations that would otherwise plague a self-cloning species. And the researcher, German researcher, said they should have gone extinct 10,000 years ago. But these this whole species has no males. So this isn't like elasmobranchs in public aquaria spasmodically shooting out the odd pup and people call it a miracle. This is going on again and again and again without messing up the species.
Yeah, it's a weird parthenogenesis, isn't it? It's just they breed with males of other species just to get the sperm as the trigger, as I recall.
Yeah.
I think this is saying I think this is saying they don't know. I think they're saying they don't do it.
So true parthenogenesis. They literally are just.
I knew someone doing research on back in my uni days, doing research on this species, but from like using them for like as a behavioural model. I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same person. It was with in one of like the Max Planck institutes.
Yes, let me find it for you, Matt. Let me find it. Bear with me. I'm going to be ages.
Max, you should
fill in. Nathan.
Max, you should change your name to Max Planck, Max.
Right. Okay. Do I spell definitely fit you. That? Is that as in like a piece of wood, or is there a C in there?
It's literally like a piece of wood with a T on the end.
TWA. It's pronounced Thwaite, Max.
Like that.
So I can't read that. Literally, you are about 5 mil across on my screen. I'm using my phone. I can't see a thing, and I'm flying blind. Yeah. This is how I drive.
Yeah. Is this normally how you do it, Nathan?
This is how he does it every week. He's off his head. He needs
help. Okay, I found it. Edward Reismeyer, computational biologist at the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different group then. But sounds good. But either way, I mean, it's cool stuff.
Reismeyer was a former research scientist at the University of Missouri when he began studying Amazon mollies in 2019. Says scientists still don't know how asexual species, especially complex ones like vertebrates, don't rack up harmful mutations, given that natural selection isn't constantly weeding them out. So that's our first bit of news for the week. Nice tie in there with the DNA mention.
Yeah, already jumped into news.
Straight in.
Should we get into news? Should we just do news?
Well, hang on. Let's do some guppies because everyone is talking about this now. So,
everyone in the world, it's overtaken the Iran crisis. Everybody's just talking about guppies.
Back to Ethan. The enders there frequently get caught to be used as feeders, so I feel like feral populations might be pretty frequent. This is my thought on wild-caught zebra danios. How many wild-caught zebra danios are from feral populations?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there's a Kenyan marine supplier who offers guppies.
There you go.
The guppy revolution.
In the one time I went to Singapore years ago, there used to be guppies in the streams, in the outflows from fish farms.
When we went to Valencia, there were guppies in the river there.
Really?
Yeah, that's insane.
And I was going to say, and in Germany, there's loads of feral populations of guppies in Germany. So they persist. Well, yeah. So you've got power plants, and they use river water for the cooling.
Yeah, it comes out warm.
It gives like a temporary winter refuge for these populations. So essentially, in the winter, obviously everything gets all snowy and frozen over, but these guppy populations can persist like near the outflows. And then effectively in the summer, there's almost like a boom and bust. So you have this weird. You can see these videos of like roach and bream and stuff just swimming around with guppies, and apparently convict cichlids as well are quite common in those systems.
How do convicts just appear if there's warm water? Suddenly they just like appear. We were talking about one in Austria last week, Matt,
on the wind.
Bob Meehan, guppies used to be far smaller if my fading memory serves. I think this is a bit like the colour thing. I think they just get bigger and bigger. Modern varieties are now humongous and far more colourful despite watering the gene pool with endlers.
Do you think the guppies are getting smaller, or do you think the guppies have stayed the same size and Bob's finally grown, maybe?
He says they're getting bigger.
He's saying they're bigger.
He's saying they're bigger, Max.
Oh, he's saying they're bigger. Oh, he's shrunk then.
Yeah, which is obvious. You can see that every time you look at him. He loses an inch. Yeah.
Do you think he's got his booster seat today? so he can watch us.
Bob.
Alan, Armando Pooh, the collector. Pooh? Don't know. Ethan Wright.
I feel like that's not the pronunciation.
There is a different one. Armando is one. There's another guy, and I can't remember his name. It'll come to me.
Ethan Wright again. Met a guy in Norway that was also keeping a few specific populations of Trinidad endless. Can't remember his name though. Parthenogenesis. Yeah, we've been on that one. Yeah.
Morning geckos. Yeah, they do the same.
Ponds in the parks in Hong Kong have guppies. They're everywhere, aren't they? They are absolutely everywhere. I was watching one on Thailand, I think, the other day. There's this really cool YouTuber. You know, like every week I say, I find a really cool YouTuber. Well, there's this really cool YouTuber who's been doing the underwater thing in Thailand. And he's the one who
I've seen that.
The Somphong's Eye.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
His videos. Anyway, there's guppies there as well. And
cool.
Alan knows this, and Chris Green especially, because it's near me now. It's in St Helens. It's Pilkington Glassworks, famous, the biggest in the world. And in the canal, there used to be hot water, and people would fish for trops. People would dump trops in the canal. This is decades ago. It's since stopped. So yeah, there you go. Fascinating. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, Matt? Other than you've got a degree.
Oh, right, okay.
Doctorate.
So we're having serious chats now. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I guess I'm trying to think. What do you want to know? Like how I got into doing this? I guess.
Yeah. Who are you? Right? What do you do? Where do you come from?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Who am I? So I went to Uni of Essex. I did marine biology there, and then my PhD, and then I lectured marine biology for a couple of years. And then,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was what I did before I joined Awata. And then COVID came along, and essentially, most unis just decided to cancel loads of people's contracts because they didn't know what was going on. So I was left without a job, and then I was looking for academic roles mainly to begin with, like different lecturing roles, and then. My dad actually sent me the Awata one. Like he just Googled aquatic jobs, and there happened to be the one going at Awata, and I applied for it. And and then I guess the rest is history. I honestly thought I'd absolutely tanked the interview. To be honest with you, I really didn't think I really didn't think I'd done well. I got into a big debate with one of the board members about like the future of what I saw the future of retail to be, so I was like, I didn't think that had gone well, and then like a few days later I got offered the job, so that was that. And then
that's when you found out that you were the only one going for it.
Yeah, exactly. So then I've been at Awata since October 2020, and then Dominic, my former boss, retired in end of September last year. So I've been doing his job since then.
And congratulations on your new role, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much.
Excited and we're big fans. Speaking of intelligent people, just to crash the party, the dark one's on. When Formosa was described, he used a male and a female specimen, and he said they look very different. The female was chosen as the lectotype by later authors fixing the name Esther.
I think you just can't spell.
Oh, as the female only species. So there we go. Ooh. Cheers. I was glad Stephen's on because I've got more Corrie stuff to talk about tonight as well.
No, for goodness sake.
I've just given up even learning it. Do you know what I mean? It's just Corrie.
What the new names are.
We're beyond that.
We had a whole episode on it. We had a whole episode on it, and we still don't have a clue. Okay. We think it's all a lie.
Let's jump onto it because hopefully, Stephen. Hopefully.
Are we doing fish news?
But this is news, but it's going to go before news. No, go on then. Do news then.
Right, we're doing news.
The newly discovered 12mm long fish makes a noise as loud as a pneumatic drill.
Marine researchers were out looking for sharks the other day off the Canary Islands.
A massive halibut fish weighing over 200 kilograms.
Why are you called fish?
You teach him to fish. You give him no. Fish news.
It's still the greatest jingle of all time.
Still funny.
Oh dear.
I need to remove that. Anyone know what that is?
Yeah, because it's written at the bottom.
I know.
I can't see that it's written at the bottom.
Only Max and I, the admins, can see this. Should we take a guess?
Is it Barbatus?
No. Here we go.
Hoplosoma.
Yes. I'm awaiting the dark one to chirp in.
Hoplosoma Esperando.
I like it.
It's so strong.
It's a good name.
Oh, he's right. Here we go. He's so good. So this is Hoplosoma.
Don't say that because it'll just go to his head.
And it's been on Fish in the News this week because researchers analysed different populations of Hoplosoma carli from Argentina and Brazil, revealing 3 well-differentiated groups corresponding to 3 streams, basically, of the Iguazu, including specimens from near the type locality of H. carli. Basically, they've got physical barriers which are kind of putting them on a path to speciation, could we say?
Right.
So yeah, just, we've gone from Corydorus to Hoplosoma to we're just going to have millions of species. And these 3 are splitting. But to me, they looked like there used to be one in the hobby called Earharti. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
It looked like the world's best pepper Corydorus at the time. But yeah, let's see what Stephen Grant has to say about it. But yeah, so that one. And then in the news, and I've taken a long time to do this. Here we go. So, Fish in the News this week, courtesy of Fish in the News, and I've
it's more bloody loaches again.
They're all cryptic. It's loaches, catfish. There's some kind of interesting stuff.
I spoke to my mate Donald earlier in the week.
What did Donald think?
He actually gave us a little bit of a soundbite. I said to Donald, I said, "Come on, more loaches again. What's your thoughts?" And this is what he said:
"More blind loaches. I've had enough. We are going to war with them."
He's quite trigger happy this week, then, isn't he? He's going to war with a lot of things and a lot of people.
Yeah. And do you know what? I fully support this one with the loaches because I've had enough of it. It's too much. It's too
Shall
much.
we start a podcast on blind subterranean loaches?
I think so. Yeah. I think it makes sense. We've got there's the Reefers Network, the Freshwater Network, and the blind fossorial loach.
Troglodyte. the troglodytic network.
The troglodytic network. That is or whatever Nathan, whatever silly word he uses, zygobites,
Stigobionts.
Stiglobite network.
Right. I just need to round up with Steve's comments, which is what. Oh, hang on. I've jumped. Wait.
Hold on. What?
The only thing I would say is that they used mDNA, and that doesn't provide good results for Corydorudinae. Okay, he's questioning it, which is why they have an osteogaster in the middle of Hoplosoma. Oh, he's feeling it tonight.
That's just annoying.
He's on one.
He's rocking the boat. He's rocking it. Anyway, so back to our new fish. From the top.
Probably.
I'll tell you what, these are really hard to pronounce. This isn't me and my McDonald's kicking in. These are all completely new words. So, Microcambiva cassara, a new species of pencil catfish, Trichomicteridae, top left, is described from the Morato and Cedro rivers, tributaries of the middle portion of the Guaraquecaba River Basin in Parana State, Brazil. So we got another Brazilian one. So someone is doing a lot of fish science in Brazil.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
That's cool.
Authors also redescribed Microcambiva riberi in this paper as well, discussing the conservation status and biogeography of the new species.
What is it?
Trichomicterids. There's millions of them.
It's a trichomicterid.
It is.
So it's a parasitic catfish.
Do you know what it looks like? My initial thoughts were like an Imparthenis type jobby. But that's interesting that it's a trichomicterid.
Looks like a loach to me, if I had to guess.
It'll be a little parasitic. It'll be living off of like big brachyplatystomas and stuff, isn't it?
Gills.
It's just living on their gills and munching on their skin. I love trichomicterids, but there's no future for them in the industry. They're just impossible to keep.
You say that, but there's a couple that are. Easy to
Go
keep. God, what? Do you know? I can't even think of the genus now. I've had them before. I'm getting old. It'll come back to me. I just need.
Oh, you're not
the little honeycomb type jobbies, and I cannot. Not Centromochus. What are they? The honeycomb.
Tafia.
No. Hell no. Hell
They're
no.
not Trichomyx.
Come on. No, come on. What are they called? Whoever.
I don't know, Matt.
Something Amazonicus or Amazonica, and I cannot.
Candiru.
No, it's not a Candiru. Bear with me. I'm gonna. You know, I had a group of them, and they were absolutely brilliant little things.
Literally fed him on his own blood, though. He'd open a vein up and just pop an arm in.
Yeah. I'd get in the bath and put them in with me, and then they'd. No, anyway, moving on. Ituglanis, that's the one.
That's why he's single.
There we go. Ituglanis.
It's not the only reason he's single.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, there you go. Ituglanis, and they are brilliant little trichomictrids for an aquarium.
Ituglanis, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, really.
So,
cool
commercial potential out of 10.
Pretty low.
I'd say 0.
I'm giving it a 0.
I give it a 1.
What do you think, Dr. Matthew Bond? Is
Well,
this
I mean,
going to be a good
if they can only be fed on gills, I'm same as Nathan. I don't give it a 0. I don't think it's a start. I don't think it's a starter. You know, unless Tetra develop a gill specific range.
You know what? Never say never.
Fluval gill.
There's a niche market there.
Fluval gill bites.
Yeah.
Fish science gill munches.
Yeah, well, we do bug bites, don't we? So maybe he's right. A percula bites or something. Anyway,
yeah, perculum treats.
The niche in the market that JBL have been looking for.
Yeah.
Is the gill
bug rakers.
Tetra fresh gillica.
Okay, moving on.
Aquarium tropical gill flakes now available at Tesco.
Right, wait for it. Right, here we go. Triplophysa zingiensis, a new species of cave-dwelling loach.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
What's point now? It's just silly.
I mean, basically, there's a planet under our planet that we know nothing about, and every week someone's like finding stuff. So it's described from 2 karst subterranean river outlets. That's why this one's got eyes. In the Nanpan-Jiang Basin in China. Specimens of new species were collected from a well connected to a subterranean river. There's a lot of Indian and Chinese loaches being found, aren't there? I mean, if these areas are new, why don't they just do one paper saying that they discovered like 100 different fish as opposed to like, is it because they've got to go through everything?
Well, because citations are king, Jeremy.
Okay.
You know, if you publish one on each, you're getting citations for each. There you go.
Sound of that.
True that.
Just a thought. India and China combined, how close in size is it to South America?
What?
Like, if you combined the size of India and China together, how close would it be to the size of South America?
The continent.
Have you never seen a map?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. Yeah. Well, hold on. Actually, have you ever seen one of those relative-sized maps where it's like a map, but like, because how do I explain this?
It's like a map, but
if you move things further up on a map,
it
gets bigger, right?
Oh, because, you mean with like the realistic sizes of continents?
Yeah. It's really interesting. But all I'm thinking is like India and China together are huge, yeah. And I suppose we sort of think of them as just 2 countries, so there can't be that many fish. But it's such a huge landmass. We're bound to keep finding bloody cave fish.
Well, why don't you just Google it? Why don't you just Google the landmass of China and India, and then Google the landmass of South America? And...
Yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ!
You can just ask ChatGPT. But anyway, these fish have been in kind of not plain sight, but they're always cryptic, aren't they? They're always, a lot of them are, we thought it was something else, and now we found it's a new species. So they're just not as interesting as like a Basmani rainbow would be, are they? That's the thing. That's why
it depends who you ask. There are going to be some people on here that are just absolutely loving this content, right?
Not devil.
No,
True that.
Nobody will be
true that. But no, Jeremy does raise a good point there. If you think about the gold rush of fish discoveries back in the day, if you think of the likes of Axelrod v Blair, they were after the most commercially viable. There was a commercial interest to it. So that's when you had so, Cardinal Tetras, Bosmanis, that's what sold.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. China and India's total landmass is 12.89 million kilometers squared. South America is 17.8 million kilometers squared. So when you think about it, 2 countries, it's absolutely huge. And you think about the amount of species in South America, you know, it's unsurprising that we're finding so much from India and China when it's such a large area.
It's good that they're finding it though, because we get down the kind of a kind of conservation route of you can't protect what you don't know, and
Exactly,
they can then present these, can't they, to government bodies and say, hey, don't create a massive coal mine there because there are some loaches.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't seem to stop countries like Brazil putting like big dams in the middle of dams in the middle of the Amazon, even though they do know things are there. But always a challenge.
Moving on, we have a catfish. This is bottom right, Ambliceps. That's either Veavi. Ambliceps Veavi.
These are cool fish, you know.
A new species of amblyciptid catfish is described from the northern part of the Western Ghats again, a biodiversity hotspot in India. Potentially rare in nature, a lovely catfish with a deeply forked caudal fin. What do we think?
I give it a big 7.
Has it been in the hobby, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's very, very similar to mango eye. Is it mango eye? The other one in the genus, which is a really cool aquarium fish. So if it has been in the hobby or hasn't, I'm still giving it a strong mark. It's a nice small catfish.
Did we not mark the previous one, the Zingu one?
Oh, sorry.
No, we don't. We're boycotting it. It's a cave loach.
No, let's mark it.
I think it's the prettiest out of all 4 of these.
It's quite an attractive. To be fair, it's got some nice markings. It is a pretty looking fish. But did you say it was a karst cave? So it's going to like very alkaline conditions.
That's cool. A lot of the UK is hard and alkaline, so that would work.
But also, we're not going to be releasing them into our rivers.
No. Well, we don't know temperatures, do we? So cave dwelling.
Very good. Good point.
China. So
you'd imagine that's probably quite invasive, wouldn't you?
I mean, it looks very, very, very barbartular, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if that gets near Wookiee Hole Caves, we've got problems.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Get that in Cheddar Gorge.
Okay.
All hell's going to break loose. Yeah, it's great for the spelunkers, but for the mainstream aquarist, probably about 3 out of 10.
Yeah. I tell you what.
Go on.
Oh, I'll go. There was actually some blind cave loaches coming in from Indonesia last year. I cannot remember what genus it was. But yeah, there were some coming in.
Well, you told me it was I remember you telling me it was a bad idea as well, Max, because these things are going to be limited, aren't they? It's not like they've been bred or anything.
No, presumably they were wild caught. I cannot remember what genus they were. I don't think it was Triplophysa. But they looked very similar to these.
So let's just give Triplophysa a quick out of 10. I'll go 2. Doesn't do it for me. Anyone else?
I'm 4 maybe.
I'm going bold 6.
I'm going to give it a 5. It's not bad.
We just need to get Stephen Grant on because he's just too clever for all of us. So the Trichomyxorid, top left, is predominantly insectivorous.
Well, there we go. I mean, it kind of makes sense with those big barbels. It looks like it's got big barbels. It's probably going to be feeling around. You don't need massive barbels if you're a parasite, do you?
No, true.
And big eyes. You don't need big eyes if you're a parasite either, really.
Yeah.
You don't need eyes at all with a lot of these fish.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah,
I mean, Ambliceps has barely got eyes, let's be honest.
So what's our last fish, Jez? What's that last little number?
Well, I think we know the genus because we were talking about it with Mark. So this is related to the second species of British loach, isn't it? This is Cobitis.
Cobitis tosiensis.
Tosiensis, or is it Tosaensis from the Tosa prefecture? Because it's a new species of spined loach from southern Shikoku Island in Japan. So ensis means
from.
So is it from Tosa, like the dog?
Probably.
And like the goldfish, I'm guessing. Well, I'm not guessing. I know the goldfish is from there, but yeah. Is it Cobitis tosaensis or is it
I guess it is. I guess it's Tosa. I guess it's.
I'm going Tosa-ensis.
Yeah.
I think most people would probably just by default pronounce it as Tosa-ensis, but yeah, I think you're right, Jeremy. I think it's Tosa.
And then if we just go back to this just for a second, this is Carly, but is it Carla E? As in
probably,
lady named Carla.
It's either named after a woman called Carl or a woman called Carla, isn't it?
I'm going Carla.
It'll be a Carla. You're not going to stick another A.
Carly.
Carla A.
Carla.
Yeah.
I think it's named
after Carly. Carly would be my pick.
Well, that's what I'd say, but I think it's probably named after someone called Carla. But
we will be if it's an A and an E. It's got to be a woman.
He's better than Google.
That would be Carl then. Carla E.
Steve Grant is like ChatGPT in human form. He says it's named after a woman.
Steve Grant, generate an image of Jeremy with longer hair.
That's a Wookiee.
Make it funny.
I don't know what that's in reference to. Fresh as I. Anyway. Okay, and that's it from the news this week. There was a couple of other saltwater stuff. There was a flounder. There was a hagfish, but I decided our house style should not include hagfish.
No.
No. Not real fish.
Slimy horrors.
So no kind of knockout commercial potential trops this week. I just
want some bloody bright fish, don't we, Jeremy? Somebody go go out into the wilderness, find us some bright fish. All right, can't be that hard, can it?
You make it sound so easy there, Max.
Okay.
Right. What's the next section?
Max.
Do I get to bully Matt now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've got to look. We've got to discuss Awata, haven't we? There's a lot of people out there, both shop owners, hobbyists, professionals that don't really know what Awata's all about, and a lot of the time they get it so wrong. You know, when I've spoken to people about Awata in the past, you get everything. They get, it's fish police. They don't let us run our shop like we should be able to run our shop. They don't do this. They don't do that. And I don't think many people see the positives of Awata. I don't know if they're choosing to ignore it or what. But Matt, and I guess you haven't prepared for this, but what do you think the industry would look like if Awata wasn't a thing?
Well, I think it's a very difficult one to. It's a very difficult one to kind of put your finger on, because I guess the function of Awata is that if we're doing our job right, you don't notice things change, right? I mean, a huge part of what we do is like effectively counter lobbying against like groups who, frankly, want to either severely limit or end trade. So
it's kind of keeping the status quo, isn't it? Because us four have grown up with a very similar outlook in the UK British aquatic trade. There are fish shops, there are independents, there are chains, there are garden centres, there are online, etc. And we can go out and we can buy fish and we can keep fish. And we haven't noticed anything major. That there's been quite a bit on the marine side with coral bans and fish bans and things. But even things like koi, I mean, can you tell us about that kind of famous Awata victory when, weren't koi going to be banned at one point, or goldfish or something?
Yeah, so I mean, this is well before my time and even before Dominic's, I believe. But essentially when KHV first came on the scene, that's koi herpes virus, that had very real potential to shut down the trade. And back then Awata was, well, I mean, we're not massive now, but even smaller than what we are now. I think you were talking maybe only about 2 or 3 members of staff instead of the 5 we've got now. Worked quite effectively with government officials to ensure that trade could continue. And I mean, the way that we are able to still keep things like goldfish and koi and other species now, is due to some of that work work that's been done in the background years ago. So, and of course, you can't just get these species from anywhere. They've got to come from what you call disease-free compartments, if you're using official speak. So the majority, so you won't be able to get goldfish from Europe, for instance, because they don't control for a lot of the diseases that we control for here. So, well, you shouldn't be getting them over here anyway. So yeah, but I mean, it's one thing that you sort of raised, Jeremy. Then you said about sort of about the whole status quo kind of thing, and I guess in one sense, we are trying to stop things being limited in the sense of sort of availability of species, that kind of thing, where it's ideologically driven, not evidence driven. And I think evidence is like the key part there. But I mean, there are areas where we try and push the envelope as well. So, for example, when it comes to things like pet shop licensing, we regularly put in comments to government to kind of rationalize what the requirements are. And that's not about reducing welfare standards. That's about making the welfare standards actually work for shops that sell fish, and be rational about the things that are being asked for. Because you find a lot of the time that pet shops or shops that sell fish, they have an inspector come in who's just finished inspecting a taxi rank down the road, or even like a fast food outlet. They don't know that much about animals generally, especially not fish. And although there is guidance, often they're asking for things that is just completely not within the guidance, and they're asking for things that they reckon should be the case rather than should be the case. So that's where we kind of come in as well. So if a shop's having a problem with an inspector asking for something that's not appropriate, that kind of thing, we've got tools like our primary authority guidance, but also we will go into bat for that member. If they're having an issue, and we'll have a chat with the inspector, and we're a good intermediary for that, because we're perceived as like an official body. That allows us to kind of be the go-between there. So still pushing the envelope, but not.
I mean, yeah. I've worked in shops over a lot of the country, and it seems to vary massively from local authority to local authority as to the how much they get. Like in Stockport, where Nathan is, one shop was told that the tanks had to have gravel and decoration as part of not environmental enrichment, but that's what they do. They decorate their tanks heavily. So, the guys who do the substrate free for health reasons, I mean, is that when you guys speak to them and just go, you actually don't need gravel?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, one thing, I would say is that I think people do kind of forget that, our job is there to help people. If you've got a problem with something, just get in touch with us, and we'll see what we can do. I mean, it might because we work with this legislation all the time, so we're quite familiar with it. So we know what's appropriate to be asked for and what isn't appropriate to be asked for. I mean, another thing we try and do as well is training for inspectors. So we've hosted training for inspectors before, where we have a load of inspectors come in, and we basically give them practical sessions like in aquariums, that kind of thing. And we go through the guidance. We say, here are the things that shops are doing to meet that guidance. Here's the things that are appropriate to ask for. Here are the things that aren't appropriate to ask for. Right. So, I mean, in a shop environment, having a tank that is busting full of enrichment isn't always going to be appropriate, particularly if you've got something that's a shoaling species that's very high turnover. It's not going to make sense to have this huge dense array of plastic plants or real plants, that kind of thing. It's going to stress the fish out more, having to remove that each time. That's not to say that fish don't need enrichment long term, but obviously in the consumer aquarium, it looks very different.
We have a question. Are the pet shop licenses getting better? I asked for a Westminster Primary Authority version in 2016, but my council didn't have anyone qualified to perform it. Does that mean anything to you, Matt?
Hang on 1 second. I need to reread that. Are the pet shop licenses getting better? I asked for a Westminster Primary Authority
Hold
version.
that thought. I need to go for about 20 seconds, so apologies to any female viewers. I will be back.
Take your mic off.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure about the question there. So we've got primary. If you're a Moata member, we have this thing called a primary authority scheme, which is where we've partnered with multiple primary authorities such as City of London, and they will give official advice on a certain topic, for instance, enrichment. And that means that effectively what a shop can do is if they're questioned on something like enrichment or one of these topics, that is a common topic that people have issues with, they can bring out this primary authority advice and show it to their inspector and say, listen, this is what the primary authorities say, so it's not reasonable that you're asking me to go beyond or do something different. So there's a cost associated with that, and that's like an award benefit. So if there's a common query that keeps coming up, we'll be like, well, let's get some primary authority advice. So then that means that other people can kind of benefit from it as well. Interesting. And then in terms of pet shop licenses, in terms of getting better, I think it depends what you mean by that. I mean, we've lobbied multiple governments now, for rational changes to the pet shop licensing regime, because a lot of it really doesn't make a lot of sense, and there's a lot of inconsistencies, particularly between local authorities, as you highlighted, Jeremy. And that's something that we kind of partnered with lots of other sectors on. So like a lot of the reptile people and the small furry people, that kind of thing, they all have the same problem. And even a lot of the inspectors as well, they don't find the licensing system particularly rational either. But government seem very reluctant to kind of do anything at the moment on it. I mean, I don't want to get into like the politics and stuff, but they don't seem to be. They don't seem to be willing to do much in terms of developing things. They have just released an animal welfare strategy where they've committed to working with stakeholders, but it is quite vague wording. So
Nathan,
I mean, sorry, just before we move on,
I've literally just landed.
Yeah, whoever Agri R2C is,
Alan, do you want the question back up?
There we go.
Well, no, I was just going to say, whoever that is, I would say, drop me an email. You should be able to find it on the website. It's just Matthew at ornamentalfish.org. And let's chat more. I'm more than happy to get into the weeds of that.
Thank you, Nathan. Can I just say your tanks look so much better when you're not there?
Yeah,
right? You got up and left.
It's
I could
classic.
see in your tanks.
It's classic of everything in Nathan's life. When he's not there, it's better.
Do you know?
Oh, look at that!
Look, I can see the melon barbs. I can see the canarensis. I can see the tambropani.
Wow.
Get away!
Yeah.
There we go.
Stay there, Nathan.
I'll stay over here then.
Stay off it. Right, let's carry on.
Much better.
Oh dear.
Oh
dear.
Can we talk about something that was very close to my heart, right? This is the kind of thing that I hope Awart was fighting for. Apple snails, right? Apple snails. So this was the kind of ridiculousness that I think we were in the EU at the time. Can you tell us about apple snails and water hyacinths and all these kind of things that we kind of inherited from EU blanket bans that you guys then say, oi, it's not going to survive. We're not.
And more importantly, where are my bloody hyacinths?
Where are your hyacinths?
I want those back.
Nathan, we are trying. So
Try harder.
So we have. So we've kind of we recently have actually just pushed. I don't want to say the nuclear button, but probably the button that we try and avoid pushing, which is writing a ministerial letter, but not just writing a letter to the DEFRA minister responsible, CCing in all the treasury and the business ministers, that kind of thing. Because what you've said is that effectively a government that's promising growth and supporting small businesses shouldn't be clinging on to EU legislation that they have previously agreed to repeal. So the way that, just as a bit of like an explainer, the EU, we used to be in the EU, and the EU have lots of species on their on their invasives list. And the problem is with the way that the EU deal with invasive regs is that that list of what you can't have gets applied across the whole EU. But of course, something that's invasive in Malaga is going to be very different. Is going to have a very different chance of invasion if it's in Helsinki, right? Yeah. So, one of the I guess the perks of us coming out of the EU means that we could rationalise our invasives policy. So what's happened is back in 2022, the government did a review of a load of the species that it inherited from the EU, and did a scientific review about whether or not they could be invasive. We provided evidence for that, including on water hyacinth. And they made the decision that yes, on a scientific basis, water hyacinth can't establish. So therefore, we will commit those to delisting. Now, and they were going to lay a statutory instrument to get it done, that kind of thing. That was back in 2022, and we've effectively been reminding them with differing degrees of urgency as time's gone on that this is something they should be doing, and it's all evidence driven as well. So the government has already committed to do it, but at the moment they seem to be sort of sitting on their hands about it. So effectively, we wrote a letter with some of the other pet trade people who are also affected, and basically said, why are you not committing to, why are you not delisting these things? Because it's something stupid, like worth like $1 million to the UK aquatics trade on its own, just water hyacinth. And there's
worth more than that's my shop.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
I'm just going to buy that URL quickly. Waterhyacinth.co.uk.
Yeah, let's get that up. I'll have a Zola.com.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where, like, we don't typically. There's lots of different levers we like to pull. We don't like to pull the ministerial letter very often because effectively you're making work for the officials that you're working with on the day-to-day, right? But when you do that. However, it's kind of got to the point now where you're like, okay, it's been 4 years now. You haven't done the thing. We need to do that. And the CCing in of those other ministers, I mean, I would imagine if you ask Rachel Reeves, should you be keeping superfluous regulation that evidence says you don't need anymore? She would say, yes, get rid of it. We need to get rid of it. We need to be supporting businesses. So I don't really know why.
Can you do a Rachel Reeves water hyacinth meme?
I could probably do something.
I'm sure you could rustle something up.
Okay.
Just a quick one, Matt. How come we got the snails and we didn't get the hyacinth?
I'm not entirely sure. I would imagine it's because it was based in different bits of legislation. So water.
We got water lettuce back, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did that ever go?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that had gone. Oh wow.
So I would imagine it's because you have just because things aren't confusing enough, you've got different invasives lists. So you've got invasive lists which are drawn from old EU legislation, which has been carried over, and then you've got invasive lists which comes from the Wildlife and Countryside Act. So, which I think is so effectively, and they're dealt with by different people, I think. So I think that would be my guess, but I'd have to go away and look that up for you.
Okay, quickly, can we talk about Cambarellus, freshwater crayfish? Is that a invasives risk or a disease crayfish risk, or both?
I think it's probably both. I'm fairly certain. Yeah. I'm fairly certain that might be an issue with decapod white spot potentially.
I was going to say it's the white spot, isn't it?
Yeah. So one thing I would say, just a cheeky plug for us, is that we're starting up a webinar series, and at our last one in the year is going to be with FHI, so they're probably going to be best placed to answer a lot of these. I'll answer a lot of these questions in this kind of detail. I mean, it is a member benefit, but I think you're all AWATA members, aren't you? So
be sure to cut that bit out there, Max. Get rid of that. Oh, I don't think I am actually. No, I don't think our shop is. So, right, Matt, are you ready to get political? I'll just brush over that. You ready to get political with a bit of counterfactual action here? Because I've got a question for you out of the left field.
Yeah.
What would a Green Party government look like for the UK aquatic industry?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it is. I don't know. I mean, you're sort of delving a bit beyond my brief. I mean, I don't necessarily think that. I mean, there have been things with the Green Party positions around restrictions of private keeping before.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Oh, I was going to ask about this.
I would say that I would say that the Green Party positions that were in a manifesto that were put in a manifesto, I don't know, like two to 5 years ago, are likely to be very different come the next election. When you have that big influx of influx of members, and you are effectively trying to court lots of different votes, I don't think that you would do very well with very restrictive policies on animal keeping, because because effectively we're a country of animal lovers, that kind of thing. I mean, that is my maybe that's my overly optimistic hope, but that's my kind of thoughts on that. I mean,
they were quite fundamental on this in their early manifestos. They basically wanted an end to basically an end to pet keeping. They didn't want any animal to be in captivity.
Yeah, and I know that in Europe, a lot of the green parties in Europe are very explicit about that. We are kind of in a bit of a wait and see on that front. I mean, we're waiting to sort of see what the manifestos are for the like Welsh and Scottish governments and Welsh and Scottish parties, so which would give us a bit of a steer. I mean, one thing that we're to take up a lot of bandwidth at the moment is the call for positive lists in Scotland. That's something that's giving us a lot of concern. And I mean, if you guys follow our socials, you can kind of see that a lot of what we're doing at the moment is trying to get the word out there on positive lists. And the Scottish campaign, Don't Pet Me, they call it a permitted list. But I mean, it's the same thing by a different name, and that would have serious ramifications effectively for keepers all across the country.
So just to go back on that, so just to summarize, what's potentially going to happen? Could you tell us in layperson's terms? Is someone trying to stop us having as many fish?
Effectively, yeah. So a positive list approach limits the number of species that you're allowed to keep to a small section, right? I was at a CITES meeting just before Christmas, and some of the anti-keeping organisations were promoting positive lists, and they said their goal was to reduce the number of species available to be kept as pets to around about 20 to 30 species. That's all pets, right?
Why are they bothered about that, though? What's 20 or 30 or 300? Why are they bothered? They don't want any, do they?
Well, so because arguing for a ban on pets, that seems ideological, right? Whereas calling it a positive list and saying it's a tool to promote animal welfare and being like, oh, it's only the species that are most suitable for captivity, that makes it seem more reasonable. So what we currently have is what we currently have in the UK is a negative list approach, whereby you're allowed to keep most things, but you've got restrictions on some species where evidence identifies that there's a problem. The problem with a positive list approach is that it's a pet ban by the back door, effectively. Nathan,
is the ILFA not a white list? Is that not a positive list?
Well, yeah, you tricky sod, Nathan. Yeah, so you're right.
Here comes the bullying.
You're right, I guess. From a freshwater perspective, that is true. However, I mean, it's done at a broad genus level, and that list is from a biosecurity point of view, so based on invasiveness and disease risk, and it's FHI that does it. So they are very evidence driven, and they're not. I would say they're not gun ho typically about banning species unless they're given good reason to do so. So you're right in a sense, but we don't have a cross trade positive list because that doesn't include marines. Yeah, you are right, but I mean, we don't talk about that much because we don't necessarily. We don't want to let anti-keeping organisations let onto the fact that we've already got a whitelist because they'll one of the things that they do a lot is they say, oh, when they're trying to sell this, they say, "Oh, it's been implemented in all these different countries and it's been a great success." Like, for example, in Italy, they say, "Oh, it's been a great success." As far as I've heard from people talking about it, you can basically get what you want in Italy. I don't think there's actually that much in the way of limitations in Italy as well. And in other countries like the Netherlands and Belgium, it's been subject to legal challenges. So I think, it's go on, Nathan.
So would it not be good to propose what we have in the UK for Scotland, at least in the short term? Would that be not a...
Well, Scotland already has.
Yes.
Okay.
Scotland already has
So
it maintains its own version of the whitelist. But that's why you have differences.
I know they've got differences though. Yeah, because I know, for instance, China keepers up there have to get licenses and permissions. Could a proposal not be put forward to just say, just carte blanche what England's doing and just bring that list up here? Then you've got your positive list, but we've still got our freedoms to keep.
I think
those things. So it would free them up.
Well, yeah. So I think the way that, we're kind of getting into like the weeds of like our lobbying work. Ultimately, I think what we would do is our first port of call is basically trying to persuade Scottish legislators, Scottish parties, that kind of thing, that a positive list approach is effective. Effectively, it doesn't deliver on welfare like they claim it does. It doesn't deliver on conservation like they claim it does. Their keeper populations that will be significantly affected, and they don't want it. There's no mandate for it. So our first port of call is to try and dissuade them to do it. Now, if you get to a point where the Scottish government gets voted in, say, right, we're going to pursue positive lists, that's when we start having conversations like that, Nathan. But I guess I'd rather not be in that place. I'd rather be in the place where you've convinced those legislators that the evidence isn't there for them.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Yep.
I've just had a phone call from Rachel Reeves.
Oh, go on.
She's actually given us a soundbite. If you want to see,
go on, Max, please.
In my box, I have water hyacinth seeds.
There you go. Nice. So you heard it here first. They're coming back.
That right?
Jesus Christ, mate! You don't deserve white blood cells.
That's all she had to say. All she had to say were those two words, water hyacinth, and she's way back into my good books now.
Yeah, there we go. So they
love
come
her
back soon. Oh dear.
Freshwater theology. Ethan Wright. Anything with animals is such an argument, like the perception that exotic equals difficult, and there is that dodgy Clifford Warwick paper. What Clifford Warwick paper, please?
Oh.
Clifford Warwick is he produces a lot of papers which I won't call peer reviewed. I will call reviewed by his peers, I think, which are very different things.
Yeah, they're more white papers, aren't they?
Yeah. So, there are journals and there are journals. That's all I would say. And, he produces a lot of literature that essentially supports supports like anti-keeping effectively. Now, you're completely right on how these things are framed, like the use of words like exotic and wild. Lots of things get framed as wild animals, but you look at so people say wild animals, and then they'll have like they'll have a photo of the most selectively bred betta you've ever seen, right? And and I think the use of terms like wild animals and exotics, they're trying to effectively get people to think of Joe Exotic and Tiger King and be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. When in reality, that means that you wouldn't be able to keep most of the things that we keep now, right? And I think, and the idea that it's about welfare and the easiest animals to keep. You think about the sheer diversity of like tetras alone, right?
Yeah.
Like you're telling me that you can't like if you can keep a neon tetra alive or a cardinal tetra alive, you can probably keep the vast majority of them alive, right?
Yeah.
You'd think because they've got very similar care requirements, and that's one of the beautiful things about our hobby. That's the beautiful things about keeping fish is that you've got that diversity. And diversity begets good welfare. It means that you're picking the appropriate animal for your lifestyle, right? If you've got a if you're living in a studio flat, right, you can't have a big 200-litre tank, but you can have a small desk tank, and you can have some very small little raspberries in there or something like that. That is, that diversity of choice means that you as a person has picked an appropriate animal for your lifestyle, right? I wouldn't say that keeping an Alsatian or a Doberman in a 1-bed flat, if you've got mobility issues, is very sensible. But you can probably get away with keeping fish, or keeping snakes, or whatever it is.
I think I get what you're saying. You've got wild caught cardinal tetras, and then you've got like a wild caught chimpanzee. Do you know what I mean? It's like wild animals, they think ripped from the parents and kind of illegally trafficked, and kind of
So most of your work, Matt, is basically fighting linguistic equivocation. That's what it seems to be. It's just emotive language. Yeah.
I mean, if you ever looked at any of the CITES live streams, that's basically it. It's lots of arguing and debating around wording, and lots of stuff like that. It sends you cross-eyed.
Yeah. So just don't trust language.
On that theme, can you just give us the argument for wild caught fish? I know that you just tell us, if someone's just watched this, if someone's just come on this podcast, or is going to watch it in the future, wild caught fish, good, bad, indifferent, what does it do? What's it all about?
Well, I mean, I think the point is that so you can have sustainable sourcing with a combination of wild collection and aquaculture, and in some cases, aquaculture is going to be appropriate. In some cases, wild collection is going to be appropriate, right? Now, if you've got, let's say you've got fishes in the Amazon, what you've got there is like a natural boom and bust cycle. So you've got the water, you have the floods, then the water recedes, and that's when people collect the fish for the pet trade. They're often in very remote locations. The other forms of livelihoods available to them are often more environmentally damaging, like logging, for instance, mineral mining, cattle, burning and cattle ranch farming, that kind of thing.
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing.
Literally cocaine plantations. Huge damage.
Exactly. So, and if you think about it, whereas catching ornamental fish provides a livelihood to these people, and means that they don't have to they don't have to resort to those other forms of income, which are more environmentally damaging. But then on top of that, it's not only is it giving them an income, it's incentivizing low impact uses of the environment, but also a lot of the time these communities will act as stewards for the local environment anyway. So they'll protect the environment they know, because they know that if they keep that environment pristine, they're going to be getting that same diversity of fish again and again and again. So there really is like a pro conservation argument to it as well. It's not just as if protecting vulnerable people's livelihoods is important anyway, but if you can do that and have good conservation, that's fantastic, right? Now, I think that in a nutshell is why wild collection is good. And in the same, there's parallels as well in the marine environment as well. So as I said, it's not about saying that captive bred shouldn't happen, or saying that wild collection shouldn't happen. It's just that they both can exist in an ecosystem, and they both can be sustainable. A lot of those fish that are being caught are effectively going to get trapped in like small pools in the rainforest and get predated on, or die from like sort of disease, starvation anyway, right? That's part of that's part of the beauty of the Amazonian system. Now, one thing that I would like to know more about, I guess, is like wild collection in Southeast Asia. That's something I don't know that much about, and I do think would be good to see a bit more research on. I know that the freshwater charity Shoal, I know they're supporting a lot of research work on that very topic at the moment. So I mean, that's a great charity for people to support, and we do a fair bit of work with them. As I'm guessing Nathan does as well, because you're still on their board of trustees.
Just as a charity plug there. Yeah, I think I'm still an advisor to Shoal, though I haven't heard anything for a little while. So I'm guessing they're busy behind the scenes. But yeah, every so often I get tapped up by Shoal for some input.
Yeah, I had a
last
chat
time?
with them at a freshwater conservation event in Leeds a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I was having a bit of a chat with them about things that the trade and keeping communities can do to kind of like help out a bit more. I think one of the things that they sort of struggle with is like funding streams, and I think it's a bit of work. I'd like to do there to sort of see what we can do to help. I think it's a few ideas bouncing around. I don't want to promise anything because it's still quite early days, but it might be good to get you involved in those chats actually, Nathan.
We probably need to get them on, don't we? We need to get them on the podcast, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, actually, good shout. Really good shout.
If Mike or Mike are watching, hit us up and come on and talk to us.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can get Mr. Edmonston over.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the mics on.
I'll drop them an email actually later on. So yeah, see if they're keen.
You'll forget, but do it.
No. I'm good. So I've got another question for you then, Matt. Are Awata flying solo, or are you part of like a larger group of guys all pushing towards the same outcomes? Do you collaborate with others?
Oh, very much so. It's kind of essential to what we do. I mean, we work very closely with Ornamental Fish International. So a lot of international work that you see OFI do, we've generally been involved in some way. Particularly around things like CITES, or I'm straying into the marine area here a bit, but supporting some of the fishery, supporting some of like the marine fisheries as well. So, but also in the UK, at the UK level, we've got a bit of a campaign to basically call out the Don't Pet Me campaign as like bad for welfare and bad for keepers. But we've done that with a lot of other pet keeping organisations like Repta, for instance.
I was going to say, do you go like cross taxa and okay.
Exactly. So if you look on our website, we've got a joint manifesto for better pet keeping, which we're hoping is essentially going to work for us like for multiple years to come. And the idea about that is don't ban things, educate. Education is the route to better welfare, not banning things. And there's loads of things out there. There's loads of tools out there, like Pet Know-How, for instance, which allow keepers to be educated. That's the way if you want to improve welfare. Like banning things doesn't improve welfare. It just drives keeping underground. Jeremy.
On that note, evidence-based versus emotion. We were talking about South American fishery, the cardinal tetras, etc. I'm assuming there is evidence that it's non-detrimental over the decades. I'm assuming, like with the Hawaii in saltwater, the numbers there. Is anything? Project Piaba. Do they do some? I know it's impossible. Do they do? Well, do some kind of count and go, look, they're still there every year, despite us taking X amount.
Yeah,
so, I know. Sorry,
Nathan, go on.
I was going to say, I know Scott O'Dell did some work on this at the time, and it was showing that it was like tens of millions of cardinal tetras were just naturally wasted every year, just from that recession. And what they were taking out was a fraction of a percentage. It was like sort of 0.005% was their gain. And what they found was the environmental impact on that in regards to renutrition back into the wild. It was nothing. So yeah.
It's very interesting that you bring up that example, Jeremy, because we've been working with some researchers up in Scotland, Glasgow and University of West Scotland. We've just had a grant funded to look at the Brazilian fishery. So looking at long-term sustainability, looking at welfare, looking at fisher livelihoods, that kind of thing. And that grant, like I said, that's literally just been funded. So we're advertising at the moment for researchers to like sort of conduct the work. So I think that system, a lot of the published work is good, but it's quite dated now. So I think it's a bit more. It's high time that there's a bit more work on that. Because there are still there. I think the information is there in terms of long-term sustainability, that kind of thing, but that it needs to be kind of documented, because if we're gonna hold it up as this example of why wild collection is still something that should persist, you need to have recent evidence to kind of like back up those claims. That's part of the reason why we're kind of involved with it. So yeah, I believe that actually got announced on Fish in the News a few weeks ago. Don't know if anyone saw it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another quick one for you. What are you actually up against? What is, when it comes to the bodies that are against you, sort of roughly how many are there that are trying to take the industry down, and what sort of financing do they have? Because I can imagine it's quite a big scale operation. That's
Yeah, I mean it's massive. Like, I mean, in terms of, so I'll give you an example of like sort of scale, right? At CITES, I think you were talking around about 2,000, 3,000 delegates that were there. Of the pet trade, there were like, it's in like sort of pet trade advocacy groups like ourselves. Me, Art, David, Sven, Bob, Jim, I think 6. And in terms, so, and the antis are going to be in their hundreds effectively in that environment, and you've got to remember they'll have support teams back in the country that they're from as well. So it's they're extremely well resourced. In terms of
what
funding
sort of
stream.
I was going to say, what sort of money are they throwing at this, and where are they getting it from?
Remember, it's like, a lot of it is they're relying quite heavily on like donations, right? And I think because they don't market themselves as anti-keeping organisations. They market themselves as animal welfare or animal conservation organisations, and they'll use names like, Wildlife Conservation Society, or or like Born Free, that kind of thing. That Kind, that kind of thing. They're all names like, oh, they sound perfectly reasonable. But and I think
Sea Shepherd.
I would imagine that there are a lot of people that donate that don't necessarily realise all the aims of the organisations that they're doing. I mean, that they're involved in, and I think the assumption is always that, like, when it comes to like in CITES, that kind of thing, you can always predict what it is that they will oppose. Like, it'll always be yes to a listing, no to a down listing. It's always going to be that, regardless of whether the proposal is any good, whether the evidence is there, or if you've got like expert advice. Like, there's like, you regularly have advice from like a UN expert panel, which essentially just gets ignored in these decisions and like lobbied heavily against. So.
Comment from Freshwater Ichthyology. A lot of scientists are involved in fish keeping to varying levels. Unlike animal rights organisations, Born Free and similar is incredibly deceptive in naming, and also until you read more into it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think for us, our best tool in these conversations is to lean into the evidence. And I think, I would say is that, we are, if we come across something where there is evidence that there is a problem, that is something that we're not blocking things for the sake of it. If there's evidence of a problem, we'll try and work to make sure that gets improved. And there's a reason why we've helped fund PhD students into marine fisheries, for instance, and there's a reason why we work with, like, we try and support master students, that kind of thing. We're not, I mean, as an organization, we're not rolling in funds, but sometimes a little bit can go a long way, and some of our time as well can be used in kind. Like, for example, that latest grant, we've not put any money into that, but we've offered our time in kind to help provide support and advice, that kind of thing. So we're always we are still trying to push the envelope, I would say. It's not about saying everything's rosy and trying to brush over things. We want to understand more, but we don't. If you've got something that's being put forward that is purely ideological and the evidence doesn't say that it's a good idea, then of course we're going to push back on it.
Question: are the RSPCA a force for good? Aqua Agri.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a challenging one. I mean, I think as with every large organization, you've got, you're going to have people of different views within it, I would say. And I think there'll probably be a lot of people within the RSPCA who aren't anti-pet keeping. I mean, they exist to, they exist in part to support pet keeping, that kind of thing. Now, I think there's probably some people within the organization that, don't agree with the keeping of, quote unquote exotic pets, which includes fish. But I mean, I wouldn't lump them in necessarily with organizations like Born Free, for instance, or PETA, for instance. But I mean, one thing that I would say is that you've got the SSPCA, which is the Scottish version. Now they have partnered up with Born Free and One Kind to push this Don't Pet Me campaign, which is the positive list. Now that really did sort of come as a bit of a surprise. So a lot of the organizations that we work with and people that have been doing this a long time, we've previously worked quite a lot with the SSPCA and often found the SSPCA to be the more pragmatic of the two. But I would say the SSPCA I would classify it as a significant error in judgment on their part, because the report that was put out was just shocking. Like, some of the things that they were saying, I mean, the assumption that, people who keep exotic pets are often like from poor backgrounds, or they're neurodivergent, and because of those facts, that means they can't deliver good welfare. Those are the assumption that they were making. So I see that Nathan's going, please pick me.
No. I'm just pointing to Max, neurodivergent and low income. So yeah, that's Max through and through. So it does kind of hold some weight. One question back to the RSPCA thing. Do you think that's just because they are showing their kind face rather than their true colours? Because I remember that, again, their early manifestos were very anti-fish keeping. Do you think they're doing, I don't mean to be a bit sort of Godwin's law and relate them to the Nazis here, but do you think they're sort of showing their kind face while they climb the scaffold of, we're just going to do it democratically, and then when they're sort of like, they've got enough power, they're like, right, actually, this was our aim all along?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a very... I mean, I'm reserving judgment, I think, is where I'm at. I mean, our job is our job is to try and work with people and bring people along with us, right? Now, there are some organizations where that's never going to happen, like Born Free, whereas, there might be, RSPCA might be an What was that noise?
Nathan's nose. That was Nathan's nostrils.
Was that my nose?
I think that was your nostrils.
Yeah.
Is that the noise?
No, it's like a squeak. I didn't just. Sorry to.
No, I don't think it was me.
Breathing. He only breathes once every hour.
Okay.
It came in through that headphone. I'm like, what the hell? I thought it was something in my room. Oh, hang on.
It was again. No, it was there again then.
No, it might be. But to be fair, my neighbour's doing some work as well, so it might be drills and stuff in the background. No.
Okay. Fine. Sorry, I've got a kitten upstairs, you see, and I thought it might be the kitten screaming, but yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, effectively, I'm not going to sort of sit and pass judgment. I mean, it's probably not sensible for me to, because we might want to work with that organisation in the future, and I would like to,
he might want to be the CEO of the RSPCA.
I have to be careful in this environment, Nathan.
I'm still here. I'm just feeding things.
I mean, my kind of two penneth worth from years ago when we kind of looked into it, and even after looking into it years ago at conferences and stuff, there's a lot of what they say that makes perfect sense to cat and dog lovers, like the four of us sat here now, in that they always push for, they didn't want cats and dogs sold in shops. They didn't want puppy farming. They wanted you to buy the dog from the owner, the breeder, etc. But that writing, that wording then goes to fish, and you're like, that just doesn't work. You can't buy a Cardinal Tetra from the breeder. And it was just that incredibly vague kind of wording that works for cats, dogs, horses, that fish, and you were just like, I mean,
it's interesting, the whole, the prohibition of cat and dog sales from pet shops, right? Now, I've just picked up a kitten, right, this week, to keep my older one company. And I drove from Bristol to Swansea in a night. And the lady was very nice, but she doesn't breed more than 3 litters in a year. So yeah, she's not liable for inspection. There's no requirement for her to give me any kind of care information, anything like that. You know, you're relying on you're relying effectively on like the goodwill and the good nature of the people that do it, right? Whereas pet shops, by their nature, are licensed, right? And I think you have a lot of people. I think pet shops get a lot of stick from these organisations. Like there's a campaign at the moment called Rescue Not Retail, and they've started like campaigning outside some pet shops. And you know, they're saying, oh, you shouldn't be buying animals from pet shops. You should go into rescue centres, that kind of thing. And it's like, well, rescue centres aren't licensed. A pet shop gets, you know, has to undergo a licensing regime, and it is obliged to give things like care information, that kind of thing, to keepers. A rescue centre doesn't have to do that. Rescue centres aren't licensed, and it's nonsensical. And I think the whole, you know, pet shops are good places to buy pets. I think, you know, this is one thing that I think we should probably shout more about. You know, if you think about the knowledge and the expertise you get at a local pet shop, and also, you know, it's like I said, it's open to public scrutiny as well every day. A rescue centre and a breeder isn't. So yeah. I'm just pausing because I don't want to break your concentration, Nathan.
It's all good. I'm here. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So complete sideline. I've just noticed one of my melon barbs, my prime female who gets harassed in that corner. She's got dropsy. She's she's puffed out.
Great news.
So can we get everyone in the comments to press F to pass their respects to my late melon barb? Bless her. She was the prime bee. That was the one they used to harass in the corner every morning.
Well, that's what happens when you feed him on cheese, Nath.
Well, there is that. I've moved on to crackers now, actually. Jacob's crackers.
Can I just raise this for a second, right? A few weeks ago, the shop I worked in, they were given an Oscar, and it was the best Oscar I've ever seen in my life. It was a bumblebee Oscar, Crassipinis, and it was huge. It was much bigger than any Oscar I've ever seen before in my life. It's so big that the guy who brought it in a bucket, and its head was sticking out of the bucket, right? He couldn't even bend it in the bucket. However, it was only 2 years old, and I said to him, how did you get it so big? And he said, I feed it on chicken, right? And I thought, okay. And then a guy came in like a week after that and went, how did he get it so big? And I went, oh, you wouldn't know. And he went, chicken? And I went, how did you know? So whether or not the kind of oddball predatory fish community, now their high protein thing is like chicken, I don't know. But what are your thoughts, Matt?
Sorry, I mean, I've got a similar story to this. So my uncle, who's a tattooist, he had a big tank in his tattoo studio, and he rescued a couple of Oscars because they when I was working in a fish shop at the time, this same story. Someone came in with these two huge Oscars just in a bucket, and just unannounced, obviously, because they always are, and then just dumped them. Oh, can you do something with that? And we actually didn't have the tank space at the time. Yeah. So my uncle took them, and him and my cousin were just a nightmare for feeding him things like just sausage, salami, just like ham, chicken, all that kind of thing. But like, you know, I mean, they ended up getting I ended up doing, because I was a softie, I ended up doing water changes for them and filter cleans, which I was they were feeding them all this stuff, but I was I had to deal with the raw end of the stick when it came to doing the filter clean however often I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a bit weird, isn't it? There was on similar lines years ago when I was at a Maidenhead, a Welsh guy brought in this Central American cichlid called Herictis pearsi, which is it's related to Bicorti. It's like a great big, bit of a gentle giant, bit like just reminds me of giant gourami a little bit. Anyway, and again, it was the biggest one I've ever seen. And I said, "What do you feed it on?" He said, "Chappy dog food." Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember? Do you remember Jack Heathcote's Pacu, his absolute monster Pacu?
Yeah.
Do you remember what they were fed on?
Well,
were you there for that one?
I remember what they took chunks of. They would eat fluorescent light tubes.
They munched fluorescent light tubes. But I was asking him how they got so big and what they fed on, and at the time he was like, "Yeah, Richmond sausages."
Of course.
They started refusing everything else. So they were just getting through a pack of Richmonds every night. That was their thing.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good fun.
I've just seen someone say discus on beef heart. I mean, does it count? Because I mean does it still count with discus? That sounds very refined, doesn't it?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I personally don't understand.
I mean,
I love beef heart. I love
part
it.
of the reason I got rid of discus
Same.
is because I was sick of feeding that stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
it just puts weight on fish like nothing else.
Yeah.
Like feed it to normal tropical fish, and they're suddenly like absolute whoppers. I love it. It's great. It's great. Way better than any live foods ever. And yeah, that's my take on it.
Jeremy won't be joining us again.
Oh God, I feel so much. Oh, he's back. I felt so calm for a moment there.
Ban live brine shrimp, Matt. Ban live brine shrimp, especially in Yorkshire.
You know what this is? This is absolute power corrupts absolutely, isn't it?
This is a smear campaign just because they don't like my quiz questions because they're not clever enough. Oh dear.
Max, you were talking to me about blackworms the other day, and I went and cleaned a pond for a person, and there was a really muddy anaerobic layer in the bottom of their pond filter, and in some K3, it was full of what looked like blackworms. You told me there were blackworms everywhere, and I started looking for them, and I think they were blackworms.
Well, they might not be exactly blackworms, but there's some sort of lumbriculid. But I mean, I think a lot
nice
of
word.
Good word that. I think a lot of these things just live in moist soil as well, so I think they can not necessarily the same species that you'd feed to your fish, but they can they can get through wet mud and that sort of stuff and get into the pond and do well in there.
Right.
But yeah, in most bodies of water, especially slower flowing bodies of water, you'll find blackworm type worms.
Sorry, just I'm going to use, while we're talking about live food, I'm going to use this opportunity to pick Max's brain. Where can I get live cultures of moina from, Max?
I don't know. It's not a commercial product, really. It's hard work to do in commercial amounts. It's probably better finding somebody online that's just doing a home culture of it.
I've found cysts. We used to use them in the lab. And I found them. I actually found them easier to culture than Daphnia. I thought they were like.
Well, to be fair, Daphnia is not an easy thing to culture.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I found them a bit easier. I thought they were quite good, but I've never been able to find them since.
Does moina not exist in the same kind of ponds? It's just smaller, isn't it?
Yeah, you can find moina about the place. You've just got to separate it out.
Yeah. Oh, look at that!
Wow,
what a grail of a book that is! Absolute grail.
That noise that all four of us made. That involuntary.
We've got about 15 minutes before the quiz, so should we talk to Max about live food for a minute, right? Because I went up to his place the other day, and every time I go, it's kind of, so why can't you culture them then, Max? Why can't you culture pods? Try reading it. You've got a whole book there.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I should. I've got all sorts of weird books up here.
Start growing mysis. I want more mysis.
Mysis.
Mysis would be nice. I've told Max about this. I went to the mysis pond at De Jong in Holland. It was a failure though because somehow some like perch fry got in there and just nailed everything. So yeah.
What's that book I've got there?
Read it and weep, Max.
Oh, culture of moina.
And look, Max.
I had like a water-stained printout of that of those pages in the lab.
He can do it, Max. He can do it.
Yeah, well, good for him. Good for him.
Obviously better than you, isn't he?
Max. It's a brilliant live food because it's smaller, so it's good for fish with the small
maybe it's something we need to look at. I don't know why I've got such random books here. Look at that. I don't even read it.
Good.
I've got a whole bloody book about Lismata debelius.
Okay, yeah. Peppermint shrimp. Yeah. Well, they're not debelius, are they?
Is it Wordamani? Wordamani, isn't it?
No. So maybe they were debelius.
No. It is peppermint Wordamani. These are not. It's not peppermint. That's debelius.
Yeah.
You bloody fools! You know nothing about marine life.
Sorry.
Be better.
My bad.
Has anyone got any live food questions for Max? Because actually, Max kind of wakes up and becomes like a normal human when he talks about live food. So
human. I've never been a normal human in my life.
No, that's right. Let's think of something to ask him.
Would Triops make a good live food?
That's a really good question. The only reason I would say that they probably wouldn't is that a lot of fish tend to turn the nose at harder, brittle-bodied animals. So even things like gammarus are not that popular with fish. You know, it takes bigger, more predatory fish that are adapted to eating harder-bodied animals to go for things like gammarus even. I think there's certain things that would take triops, predators, but as a general live food, I think it'd be quite limited.
I know I keep going on about this, Max, week in, week out, but Daphnia go spiky, don't they, in the presence of fish? And I've seen fish spit Daphnia out quite a lot. I don't think it's quite hard and spiky, isn't it?
Yeah. So Daphnia is really interested in how it responds to environmental pressures. So, like you say, if there's evidence that Daphnia has been digested by fish, then generally they become spiky. They become smaller and spikier. But if and I don't know if it must be something like Shrek stuff that they produce. Maybe not Shrek stuff, but similar to something like that. I imagine this is me.
Look at him throwing the word back that I taught him. That's amazing.
Listen. let's just there we go. Shrek stuff. Let's have it again. And then if there's evidence that Daphnia have been predated by invertebrate predators, then they become bigger and harder shelled.
Okay.
Rather than spiky, because if they get bigger, then they can fend off, or not fend off, but impervious to invertebrate attacks.
How do Daphnia just appear in puddles, Max? I've had it in various parts of the UK.
I'll tell you exactly how it's magic.
Oh, thanks.
When the Daphnia produce their sexual eggs. Oh God, what are they called? I can't remember the name. They've got a name.
Eggs?
No. There's a specialist name. It's like
sexual eggs.
It's sexual. It'll come to me at some point. It'll come to me. It's in my head somewhere. Basically, the
resting eggs. Thanks, Alan.
There's another word for it.
At least someone knows about live food.
No, there is another. It's hold on, bear with me. Just play some music, Nathan, really quickly while I Google it.
You get in lakes and ponds, you get your seasonal boom. Yeah. So and throughout the summer, Daphnia. Oh, go on.
It's Ephipia. Ephipia is the name. So what they do is they produce two eggs, right? They only produce two, and it looks like a tiny little guitar pick. And basically, what happens with this is it needs to go into a diapause to hatch. So whether that's cold or hot or dry out. And essentially when these things dry out, they're very, very light and they blow about in the wind. And that's generally how Daphnia gets places, is the wind. It's the eggs travelling through the wind.
They're panspermia.
Let's refer to someone who knows. Durophagus, dietary niche for hard food items, e.g. some cichlids, some loricarids, Labridae, etc. It usually takes a specialised pharyngeal jaw for seeds and mollusks. I love pharyngeal jaws because it's what makes cichlids do their thing in Lake Malawi.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know a really interesting thing about seeds that I learned a few years back? It's not really about seeds.
Not really.
Oh, shut up, Nathan. Nobody even wants to hear your voice anymore. We're sick of it. We've only brought you back because we feel sorry for you.
Can you culture tube effects at home? Yes, I can. Max can't.
Whatever. Yeah, I've never. Yeah. Anyway, so I used to culture whiteworm for some stupid reason. I don't know why I bothered. It's so slow. I mean, it is a nice fatty food.
I was going to ask you about that. No, seriously, it's but people would buy it, wouldn't they, Max? They would buy it.
But you need so much space to do enough to sell enough because it's just bloody slow.
What do you mean? What do you mean by white worms? Because I've had frozen stuff before. Which
basically they're worms and they're white.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, smart ass. So because I've had frozen white worm before, but I swear it just looks like white mosquito.
Yeah. I don't think anybody offers frozen white worm. It'll be white mosquito larvae.
Yeah.
You mean what's the stuff that grows on bread?
That's white worm. It's a true worm. It's
white worm.
White worm.
White worm.
White.
WWW.
So white worm, it grows on bread. So I used to do white worm with wholemeal bread. I don't know why I did it with
because you're not posh, presumably.
That's because you're rich. Yeah, we did it on hand curated granary bread from the local baker. Only £18 a loaf.
We did it on. We cultured our white worms on artisanal sourdough. Anyway.
that would probably sell better these days.
So what we did is I'd culture it on wholemeal for some reason, and I'd scrape the worms off a piece of glass into the tank. And I remember feeding some Wadii tetras, Livestrike and Wadii one day. I'd scrape the worms off, and there were a few seeds that went in, and the tetras turned around and went for the seeds, not the worms. And it was absolutely fascinating. These things were looking for the seeds, not the worms. When they'd got the seeds, then they went, "Oh, I'll have the worms now." But yeah, they went for the seeds over the worms. And
a lot of energy in a seed.
Yeah.
One of my favourite live food feeding exercises is wingless fruit flies for fish like tetras. It's just, doesn't it just look so natural and amazing when they kind of do that tuna thing where they kind of like come up and nail it and they all shoot back down again?
I've never even thought of doing that before. That sounds fantastic.
Wingless fruit flies, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's brilliant.
Bit of Drosophila. While we're doing live and frozen foods, still to this day, and I've been doing it for decades, one of my favourite gimmicks, and I strongly recommend people do this at home. If you've got frozen or live bloodworm, get it up if you've got Corydorus, get it up in a pipette and just pipe it under the gravel or under the sand rather.
Yeah.
Don't put it on the surface. Just like 5 mil beneath the surface. Just pipe it in, and then just wait 5 minutes, and you'll have a line of like sturbers just completely following that, all buried to their asses in that substrate. It's so fun to watch. Yeah, I've started trying to do it with peacocks as well, with Ornamental, and again, surprising how. Yeah, so do the same thing. Just pipe the live food. It doesn't work with frozen, but pipe live food underneath the substrate, and suddenly you'll have like a line of young peacocks, all just buried in. They can feel it there.
Yeah, you can do it with tube effects as well. But Ornamental, I'm glad you know that, Nath, because Ornamental kind of hover and sense, and
they're looking for snails, aren't they? Yeah,
they can sense life under the sand, so that's a good bit of environmental enrichment, definitely. Michael Kirkham has the best method for blackworm culture. I bet he does. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, probably.
Thank you. Max is really sensitive about blackworms. He goes toxic masculine like within a second you mention it. Yeah.
We'll get Louis through to the on you.
There we go. There goes Maxwell Tate. Yeah, off on his missions.
Never tell Max Pedley that he can't culture blackworm, because he has to go and prove it. This is great. He's going to be in his warehouse, like throwing stuff across the room now, furiously digging out blackworm to show us. But yeah.
Well, let's change the topic, so it's no use when he comes back. Oh, he's back.
Oh, here we go. If only it wasn't so expensive, Max.
Yeah, you've just imported that from the Czech Republic. That's not yours.
Yeah. Sorry, Nate.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, no, I thought we were just going to change the subject while Max is gone.
Yeah, go on.
Right, so really quickly then, Matt, I threw the same question at Paul Tapley last week, and I'm going to throw the same question to you. What do you think is the single biggest threat facing the hobby and industry in the UK?
I mean, because I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but I think positive lists, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think that is, I think that really is the biggest threat. And I think really, this is one of those instances where I think we, as a sector, we all need to kind of like sort of wake up and start doing things. And I think that's, we obviously exist and we'll keep fighting the good fight, but we need people to, particularly in Scotland, we need people who are keepers writing to their local representatives. We need, shop owners doing it as well, petitions signed, that kind of thing. These things are really important. I do sometimes think that as a community, keepers could often end up getting fixated on very, very niche things and getting very annoyed about very niche things. And and sometimes I see these comments on Facebook or whatever, and I'm like, guys, there's this huge threat that's going to affect all of us. Can we stop scrapping amongst ourselves?
Feeling a pretty attack there, but okay.
Yeah.
Good comeback. Good comeback there, Matt. I'll take it on the chin.
It wasn't actually aimed at you for once.
That's a shame. It should have been.
Okay. Should we do the quiz?
Let's do it.
I think
Okay.
we should do the quiz. Oh, by the way, if we get 100 views, I'll drink one of these live. I want 100 people on at once, and I'll drink one live.
Actually, just get everyone
can I have a moment to talk with my client?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Bring it up, Max. Bring it up.
Bring what up?
The quiz.
The quiz. Okay, hold on. The first question is.
Hang on.
Hypothetically, how many years would I get for keeping a Rizius outside?
Oh,
is that actually
300? No, it's not. It's not a question.
Not the quiz question.
300 at least.
Oh, right. Okay.
Let's get into the quiz.
Fish quiz, guess what it is? Fish quiz, that's what it is. Fish quiz, guess what it is? Fish quiz, that's what it is. Fish quiz.
The bubbles make it.
It's the bubbles are incredible. It really is good. I love Fish Quiz is brilliant, isn't it? It's the best time of the week.
Yeah.
It is for me because I'm the winner.
I think it's getting cult status as well amongst kind of quizzes. It's really good.
I heard that the Beast from The Chase wants to come on and have a go.
Oh yeah.
Fish Quiz.
Yeah. Be all over. Be all over.
It would. Anyway,
right,
so what we're going to do, Matt, is we're going to ask you some impossibly hard questions, and you're going to do your best to answer them correctly, as per most quizzes.
In 1 minute.
In 1 minute. You've got a minute.
1 minute?
You've got a minute.
1 minute per question, yeah?
No. Max, are you nearly ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Zebra, zipper, and zodiac are types of what fish?
Danio.
Utsuri koi are white and what other colour?
Sorry, can you repeat it, please?
Utsuri koi are white and what other colour?
Gold.
To which genus do blue-eye rainbow fish belong?
No. Pass. Come back to that.
The brand Tropica is based where?
Denmark.
Name an African catfish.
Synodontis SP dot.
In what country might you find the black neon tetra naturally?
Brazil.
In etymology, what does geophagus mean?
Earth eater.
In plants, Lagorosiphon major may also... I started the question, so I'll finish the question. Okay. In plants, Lagorosiphon major may also be known as...
curly waterweed? Or Nuttall's waterweed?
Right, so would you like to know how many you got right?
Go on.
You got 5 right, so that puts you joint second to bottom with me.
Okay.
It's not a bad effort at all. It's not a bad effort. So zebras,
what's the rice fish one? That's going to really annoy me.
Let's start at the beginning. Zebra, zipper, and zodiac. What are they? Come on, Matt. You know this. I know you know this.
Pleco? Why not? I don't know.
No, it's lurch.
Oh, okay.
It's lurch, zebra lurch, zipper lurch, and zodiac lurch.
Oh, I see.
Utsuri koi are white and what other colour? Jeremy, do you know the answer?
Black. I said gold.
It's black. It is black indeed.
Oh.
It
was a shot in the dark, to be fair.
To which genus do blue-eye rainbow fish belong?
Oh, I'm really annoyed because I feel like I can picture them in my head, and I feel like I've seen it before.
If I give you a species, I think you can give me the genus. So, Focatus and Gertrude.
Oh, Popendetta?
Not quite. No, not quite.
So close. So close. He shoots, he misses, he hits the bar.
It's pseudomugil.
Pseudomugil. Although there's probably lots of rainbow fish with blue eyes, but yeah.
But the blue one. The brand Tropica is based where? It's Denmark. Name an African catfish. I'm going to accept Synodontis species because there's going to be. I'll accept it. If it were Nathan, I wouldn't have done. In what country might you find the black neon tetra naturally? Brazil is correct. Bolivia and Brazil are the 2 countries it is found in, according to Eschmeyer's catalogue. Even though it's the Paraguay River basin, apparently they're not found in Paraguay.
Okay.
Great descriptions, that's outrageous.
Mm-hmm. In etymology, what does geophagus mean? It does mean earth eater. And in plants, Lagorosiphon major may also be known as. I would have accepted a few answers here. I would have accepted, as well as your answer, pondweed or Alodia crispa. So yeah, you've got a point there. So 5 points.
Hang on, you'd have accepted pondweed.
I'd have accepted pondweed for that. Yeah,
curly pondweed,
I think
oxygenator.
I think pondweed's low effort. I wouldn't have accepted
Nuttall's pondweed is Alodia nuttuli.
Yeah. I think after I said that, I was a bit like, but you know.
But you gave me curly. You gave me curly waterweed, and I'll accept that because I think,
So what is the top score? What's the top score?
7, and it was Nathan. And I gave him really easy questions.
When you say joint bottom on 5,
second.
That's not much in it at all.
Bottom's Mark Duffel, and I love to say he only got 2 because he's far more intelligent than that, and we're gonna have to get him back on again to try again. But I did give Nathan a very, very easy set, so don't worry about that.
No, you didn't. Mine were incredibly hard.
Oh, stop sticking up for him, Jeremy. You got an easy set as well.
I can both Matt, twice. Matt, rewatch my one. Rewatch the first episode and see how goddamn difficult mine were.
Go back
mate,
2
I'd
episodes.
have got 10 on yours, mate. I'd have got 10 out of 10 on Nathan's.
I'd have got 12.
I was just low fidelity.
What are you most angry about, Nathan?
I can't even remember. I think it was about my sex life or something. I thought it was just a little bit invasive.
So the answer was non-existent.
I derailed myself from a 7 to a 6 because he asked me the African catfish, and I said Clarius, which is right, but then I went Batrachus, which is an Asian species, not Garipinus, which is African. So that haunts me. I can't sleep because of that, because then I'd have been joint top with Nathan. And every day
I'd lie awake at night if I was you.
I'd berate myself.
When we do season 2
would have been, but you're not.
When we do season, I think Max spoke slow. Oh, come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. Have a word with yourself.
Far too slow.
But it's a respectable effort, Matt.
No, I'll take that. I was fearing worse.
Yeah. So no, it's not at all. But it's bloody terrible. No, it's not. I've lost my notes. Here we go. By the way, quick question. Alodia, does the genus Alodia actually exist?
Well, I was going to bring you up on this, right? Because Lagorosiphon major, Alodia, and Egeria, there needs to be some work on it because they all kind of get lumped together. What do you think, Matt?
I don't know. I don't know, really. I mean, are they not... They are separate genuses, aren't they? So I don't understand.
Well, yeah, but how do you tell them apart? And which one's banned? Are any of them
the problem
banned?
is trade just lumping things together.
Well,
it's like how people are going to persist using Corydorus, even though for everything, even though that's not the case anymore.
On most plant lists, denser is listed as Alodia denser. It's not. It's Egeria denser, as far as I'm aware, unless there's another name hidden somewhere that we don't know. Now, Egeria denser is, as far as I'm aware, a tropical plant. Okay,
yeah. Is that that's the soft one?
That's the bigger one. That's the pondweed. That's the pondweed that you see now sold in shops for ponds.
Denser.
But I don't think it survives winter.
It used to be a Singapore bunch plant. It still is.
It still is Indonesian, Singaporean. Yeah. Now, CRISPR's obviously Lagorosiphon major and is a naughty plant. Not allowed that.
Yeah, but it can also be Alodia crispa. Lagorosiphon major is Lagorosiphon major. If it's valid,
but it's sold as Alodia crispa. I don't think Alodia crispa exists.
This is my point, though. I'm going to do some work on it.
And by the way, it's South African, you know.
What is? Canadensis?
The Lagorosiphon major, I'm pretty certain it's a South African plant, the banned one. Again, I could be wrong. If anybody knows, that'd be really interesting to find out exactly what the deal is with that. But that's a banned plant.
Canadensis is banned, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
Okay. I think there is a plant base.
I'd have to check. I haven't got it off the top of my head.
And I want to know now. I'm very, very interested.
Yeah, I do.
Well, if I'm right, add it to my quiz scores.
I think we're being discriminatory towards certain curly pondweeds. We may have blanket banned them when they're actually different species.
Yeah, not that we need any of them. We've got Charisophyllum demersum. We've got Hornwort.
I like Hornwort.
I love Hornwort. And I've also seen the first shipment or the first lot of is it Fontinalis or Physidens antiparetica, the willow moss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's UK native. It's
What's
UK
the
native.
one?
Well, yeah, we've had a load come in, so yeah, we've got loads of Antiparetica, and it looks amazing. God, it's such a good plant.
Yeah, Chris, he'd also signed Namano's book as well.
What's the one you get in chalk streams?
Oh,
Watercress.
Miranda,
Ranunculus.
Ranunculus.
Yeah.
Water crowfoot.
Azolla.
Azolla. Our rivers, we've got a section of river that gets covered in Azolla in summer.
Right.
Myriophyllum.
There is. Did you know? Well, Matt, you might know. Apparently, there's Vallis growing in some parts of the UK.
I've had Vallis in my pond. No, I haven't.
Well, this leads me on to.
No, you don't, Max. No, you don't.
You don't, Max. Jesus Christ!
It's all right. His private estate is so big. It's Woburn Abbey. He's got like elephants and tigers roaming.
It's not that
true, actually. Yeah, he's like Port Lim Zoo Park.
Yeah, exactly.
But
no,
I did have a pair of pheasants in an aviary at one point.
there is Vallis in some rivers, I think.
Yes,
And a guy in Milton Keynes has got it in his pond, and he was on Gardener's World last year. And I remember looking at all his exotics going, whoops, because they seem to be doing quite well.
No, but to be fair, Vallis, I can't remember which species it was. I remember being at Maidenhead a few years back, and we were actually selling it as a deep water plant that was coming in from one of the suppliers. So
but again, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Matt, but if it's pre-embargo, you can't touch it anyway. So if it's like going back to the 60s and he's had it, you can't really do much about it because it's not that it's a license applicable.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got evidence of of it becoming widespread and like going beyond, then they can do eradication programs. But I don't think you. But if it's solely within someone's pond.
It's like that time you brought in.
They're probably not going to go. You're probably not going to get the fuzz after you.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if I had like a Ritzius from 1964, before anything was like decided on, I just happened to have them in my pond. Then I guess.
But then again, we've got the issue with the ducks coming into the garden.
No, I kill them outright, and the herons with a shotgun.
Right.
So yeah. Nothing gets in.
We once we had a heron die on us at Maidenhead once. We had to fish it out of a koi pond.
What?
Yeah.
You're going to prison.
It got into the koi pond under the net and drowned.
Right.
Is what we told the authorities.
Matt, I've got a serious question.
Max, stop making my life difficult, please.
Matt, I've got a serious question. Talking about invasives and risks and stuff. Why are Wells catfish allowed anywhere near the UK? Wells catfish they're in fisheries, mate.
No, but
they're not legal. They're not legal. I don't think they're legal releases when they happen.
No. Or they've just been there a long time and they've not got them out.
Where do they get them from?
I have no idea, but I mean, I doubt that. I doubt they're from our trade, but like.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm 100%. They're not from the aquatic trade.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's like. So if you if they're in a I mean, I've heard of like some really small scale like carp fisheries where they've appeared. And they've obviously been put there, but I don't think they're. I don't think it's not legal to release them. Well, I mean, I know you've got some that were have been put there, like I think in like the Woburn Abbey lakes or whatever, that have been put there like decades ago. But I don't think it's legal to release them now.
There's one particular Czech supplier that drives their stuff across, and they don't police their lists based on what we can have. They'll just send anything. And I know it is possible to get some.
Yeah, I mean it's fishing lakes, so it's not really my area of expertise. Yeah. But I mean, you have to check with FHI. But I mean, I'm fairly certain that you wouldn't be, you wouldn't be allowed to release them.
No, I'm certain.
I think even into a commercial fishery, I don't think you'd be allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of out of all of. Oh, by the way, I saw a thing. We were talking about invasive fish in Florida last week or the week before.
We were.
And then I saw this thing where it's brilliant. This is like the cane toad thing. In Florida, they've created a huge arapaima fishing lake, right, where you can sport fish arapaima. And to be fair to them, it's got like a roof over it. But again, you're just thinking, This isn't going to end well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they what's it called in Thailand? They do that loads, don't they? There's so much sport fishing of big South American species in Thailand. My granddad goes. My granddad goes quite regularly. So yeah, I mean, it's insane. But like red tail cats, that kind of thing. You know,
so
it is amazing what they stock those lakes with and what they catch. I mean, it's brilliant for us aquarists to like see them and not have to keep them and see pictures of them being massive and stuff. But
I mean, it does kind of like bring it home. Like when you think about, you know, like sort of you see like these. Often in the States, mate. Often in the States, where you see people that like, oh, I bought a tiny red-tailed catfish and I've got a big black tub for it now in my conservatory or whatever. And then, but you can also look at a photo of someone that's like, you know, caught one in a fishing lake. Like my granddad has to get in the water to land this thing. You know, like, and you think, Christ, that's insane how big they get.
No, they're huge. They're huge, like 45, 50 kilos.
Final question: do we have ictalarids in the UK? It seems a bit ambiguous if we do.
There was when going back to Maidenhead, when I started at Maidenhead, they'd taken over from the garden centre only a few years before I started, and they had a single channel cat there that was in the back. It had been inherited from the garden centre. They'd been selling them illegally.
When me and Nathan were kids, they were legal.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah,
but that was 80s, late 80s. Very early 90s.
There's probably a few kicking about still, I imagine, because they can live a while.
When I was, I think, probably like 9 or 10 years old, I remember my uncle getting 2 of these things called shark cats from a local fish shop. And would they have been channel cats?
I'd have thought they'd have been Arius or Ariopses.
No.
They're only little.
Or Pangasius.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Pangasius hypothalamus.
Legal in the 80s. Alan's old. Yeah, we were all there, Alan. You could literally buy
a lot of things are acceptable in the 80s.
Not wrong.
Yes.
We used to hang out of cars with no seatbelts on, didn't we, Nath?
Smoking on planes. Oh, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh.
Okay, so I had 2 brown bullheads in my dad's fish tank in the 80s. Yes, you did. On that on that high point, thank you to our special guest, Matthew Bond, for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. It's been very enjoyable.
Quiz and for enlightening us. You're always welcome.
And remember, if you're a shop and you're not a member of Awata, we're going to come around and stab you.
I don't advocate that. But you know, do get in contact. Anyone who's got a shop and they're not a member, do get in touch. More than happy to answer people's questions.
Yeah, but no, on a serious note, if you're not a member, like look into it, because you know it's important that as many people in the industry are involved. With Nathan,
we're there
to help you.
We're there to help you out. So
yeah, it's not the police. It's here to help you. It's something you can lean on, and it's very beneficial to the industry. Yes, thank you so much, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it's been lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Can you do the outro? Because I got it wrong last week, and I got the intro wrong this week.
Yeah, you get everything wrong every week.
Make
sure to watch it. If you're still watching, I forgot to announce next week's guest. It's Colin Dunlop, so make sure you're there. Bye.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers, then.